CBS News Chief White House Correspondent Nancy Cordes. Nancy, the U.S. is urging the Israeli military to use caution with its attacks on Gaza, but Israel does not seem to be heeding that. How is the White House responding?
Well, Elaine, we saw none other than the vice president this weekend and the secretary of defense come out and criticize Israel in no uncertain terms. The vice president was in Dubai. She was there for both for a climate conference, but also meeting with Middle Eastern leaders. And she said that Israel needs to do more to prevent civilian casualties. She said too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. And then Secretary Austin, speaking at a forum in California, went even further, and he said that Israel needs to be strategic, not just tactical. In other words, he was suggesting that Israeli leaders are so focused on how they are going to go after Hamas in Gaza that they are not paying enough attention to the collateral damage, to the deaths of civilians that are going to, in the long term, prove to be a strategic setback for their goals. And so we've seen White House officials become much more vocal about their concerns that Israel is not doing enough to prevent civilian casualties. Yesterday on Face the Nation, White House NSC spokesman John Kirby said that he does believe that the Israelis are receptive to this message that they're getting from White House officials, from U.S. leaders, but clearly those leaders don't believe that Israel is doing enough yet.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up John Kirby, because he made the rounds on multiple Sunday shows talking about how Israel was, in the view that he took, doing more than any other military on the planet might do in a similar situation. He used that phrase repeatedly. So they've got the leaflets, they've got the flyers, they've got the phone calls telling civilians where to go, and then they've got the interactive map. And he described it as sort of telegraphing to Hamas where the IDF is going to go, and it's not something he felt like any other military, including ours, might undertake. So there is some support, it would seem, from those comments from the Biden administration in seeing Israel improve its approach in the southern part of Gaza compared to the north. However, the politics of this are not easy for the Biden administration, and I'm curious whether Israel's continued fighting, however it goes from a civilian impact point of view, is going to affect how the Biden administration is able to give them aid both militarily and financially.
Tony, there's no question that this White House is facing a lot of pressure from some key constituencies to speak out more vocally when it comes to civilian casualties in Gaza. But beyond that, the bigger challenge for Israel when it comes to this aid package that has been put out there by the White House is Congress. First of all, you've got progressives in Congress who are increasingly insisting that this aid, if it is to pass, should be conditioned on how the IDF continues to conduct this operation. And then you've got Republicans who say that they don't want to vote to provide this aid to Israel, even if they support it, until Congress strikes some kind of larger deal on U.S. border security. And that is something that members of Congress, frankly, have been chasing for years, if not decades, without a ton of success. So the idea that they are going to have a major breakthrough sometime in the next few weeks in order to get this aid out the door, those chances are pretty slim. So I'd say right now the aid is really up in the air, not just because of the concerns that the White House has, but also because of so many factors that are buffeting this issue on Capitol Hill.
Yeah, and Nancy, part of what makes this so difficult is we see the aftermath in some video of some IDF attacks, but we don't know what they were basing the attack on, what the target was, what the intel was, and in some cases, U.S. military doesn't know either. And so hopefully after the fact, deeper investigations will reveal whether smart and law-abiding decision-making was taking place. But in the moment now, it's very hard to tell. Nancy Cordes, thank you very much.
You're welcome, Tony.